This is the story of Sandra Birchmore, a young woman with dreams of becoming a police officer, a tragic ending shrouded in mystery and betrayal, a case that has shaken the foundation of trust in a small Massachusetts town and raised alarming questions about power, exploitation, and justice. We will delve into a decade-long nightmare, unraveling the truth behind Sandra's tragic death and the dark secrets kept by those sworn to protect her.
Good afternoon. On February 4th, 2021, Sandra Birchmore was found dead in her Canton, Massachusetts apartment. The charges filed today in federal court allege that she was in fact murdered by Matthew Farwell 3 days earlier.
On a warm August night in 2024, the FBI made a move that sent shockwaves through a small Massachusetts town. Matthew Farwell, a former Stoughton police officer, was handcuffed and led away, charged with a crime so heinous it was almost unimaginable. But this wasn't just a single act of violence. It was the culmination of years of deceit, manipulation, and betrayal. To understand this tragic ending, we need to go back to where it all began. Sandra Birchmore was just 13 years old when she joined the Stoughton Police Explorer program. After losing her mother and grandmother, Sandra was searching for direction, a way to channel her compassion into a meaningful career. The Explorer program seemed like the perfect opportunity, a place where she could learn from seasoned officers, prepare for her future, and make a difference in her community. Sandra wasn't just a participant. She was dedicated, passionate, and eager to serve. But behind the smiles and encouragement she received, a darker reality was beginning to take shape. Matthew Farwell was one of the officers leading the Explorer program. He was young, charismatic, and seemed genuinely interested in helping Sandra achieve her dreams. He became a mentor to her, offering guidance and support. But as time went on, this mentorship took a sinister turn. Farwell's interest in Sandra wasn't just professional, it was personal. And soon it became clear that his intentions were anything but honourable. Over the years, Farwell began to isolate Sandra, subtly driving a wedge between her and the people who cared about her. The messages he sent her were laced with manipulation, seeming caring yet controlling. He dictated who she could see, where she could go, and what she could do. Farwell wasn't alone in this. His twin brother William was also involved, and so was Robert Devine, a deputy chief who ran the Explorer program. The very people Sandra had looked up to were now the ones pulling the strings in her life. Sandra's once bright future was slowly dimming, overshadowed by the dark intentions of those she trusted. In February 2021, the unthinkable happened. Sandra Birchmore was found perished in her apartment. The scene seemed to suggest suicide, a tragic end to a young life. But for those who knew Sandra, something felt wrong. How could a woman who had once been so full of life, so determined to succeed, suddenly decide to end it all? The answers, as it turned out, were far more chilling than anyone could have imagined. What had initially been ruled as suicide now appeared to be something far more sinister. As investigators dug deeper into Sandra's life, a horrifying picture began to emerge. Text messages, emails, and testimonies revealed a decade-long pattern of abuse and manipulation. Matthew Farwell's charm had hidden a darker reality, one where he, his brother William, and Robert Devine had all played roles in controlling and exploiting Sandra. An internal affairs investigation revealed a disturbing pattern of misconduct. The report detailed how Matthew Farwell, William Farwell, and Robert Devine exploited their positions within the Stoughton Police Department's Explorer program. The lack of oversight and accountability within the department not only enabled these officers, but also contributed to the tragic outcome. This internal report didn't just uncover the actions of a few, it highlighted a systemic failure that demanded change. more the public learned about Sandra's death, the louder the calls for justice became. News of Sandra's death and the allegations against the officers involved spread quickly, igniting a firestorm of public outrage. In towns across Massachusetts, people took to the streets, demanding answers and accountability.
Things that they did were disgusting. She admired the police. She wanted to be a police officer. They took advantage of her.
Now, they weren't just protesting for Sandra, they were standing up for all those who had suffered in silence, victims of abuse by those sworn to protect them. The media picked up the story, and soon, Sandra Birchmore's name was known across the country. But even as the public demanded justice, doubts about the investigation began to surface. By June 2024, an independent forensic pathologist, Dr. Michael Barden, raised critical questions about the initial investigation.
This morning, we're shining a spotlight on some new information that could bring justice to the family of a pregnant Massachusetts woman found dead back in 2021. To the Boston Globe, the Birchmore family hired famed forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Barden to review Birchmore's autopsy, and he concluded the cause of death was strangulation.
Had crucial evidence been ignored? Was the truth being deliberately buried?
Admiration led her to form relationships with men who were willing to take advantage of her.
These questions cast a shadow over the case, prompting renewed scrutiny. And then, in August, the truth began to emerge. Matthew Farwell was arrested, charged not just with Sandra's murder, but with years of torment that led to her death. His arrest was a significant step, but the case was far from closed. The involvement of William Farwell and Robert Devine still loomed large, leaving many questions unanswered. If convicted, Matthew Farwell faces life in prison. But this case isn't just about one man. It's about a system that failed to protect the vulnerable and a community that demands justice. Sandra Birchmore's life was tragically cut short by those who were supposed to guide her, but her story doesn't end with her death. In Sandra's name, there is hope for change. It's up to us to demand justice, to protect the vulnerable, and to ensure that Sandra's legacy is one of strength, not silence. The arrests and ongoing legal battles are just the beginning. The next chapter in this story is yet to be written, a chapter that we hope will bring justice for Sandra and prevent such tragedies from happening again. Remember Sandra Birchmore, demand accountability. Let the next chapter be one where justice prevails. If you would like to know more about the case and support the ongoing campaign for justice, you can visit www.justiceforsandrabirchmore.com. If you found this story as compelling as we did, please take a moment to like this video and share it with others who might be interested. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a twist in the tale.